to do something you might never do again, perform on a professional stage.
From the dressing rooms to the orchestra pit to the huge stage with room for drops and a curtain that rises, the Pabst Theater and all its history always affect performers as much as the audience. We were honored and humbled to perform there twice.
Evening, when you find your true love, when you feel her call you across the crowded road.
South Pacific was the fourth repeat. A Neil from the 1965 cast wrote a letter of encouragement to this cast.
Oddly enough, the things I remember about the show were not the show itself, but 100 little things that happened before and after the performance. There was a last-minute hug from Mr. Wren before I stepped out on the stage. I remember saying something about frangie-pangie, and the next thing I knew, the show was over. We were taking bows, and girls were crying. I remember later lying on a bench in the boys' locker room, utterly exhausted, relieved, happy, and sad. Every bit that you've invested in this effort will be returned to you many times over. What's more, your accomplishment magnifies the pride of those who precede you and maintains the standard for those who follow.
And make her your own. All through your life you may dream all alone.
Once you have found him, never let him go.
Once you have found her, never
Lieutenant Cable was to give Leah a gold pocket watch, which had been a family good luck piece, when he tells her he can't marry her. 2 watches were used, a nice gold one and an old Timex. As he attempts to give Leah the watch, Bloody Mary intercepts it, palms the gold watch, and throws the Timex to the ground. By the last show, the Timex was in pieces, which were carefully fitted together. The watch hits the ground and shattered, but a large disc-shaped piece fell out and began to roll across the stage. The next seconds seemed an eternity as the disc noisily made its way across the apron and into the orchestra pit.
Instead of staring crestfallen at the ground at my shattered watch, all I could do was follow the arter's path of the piece across the floor.
He was sure the scene was ruined, though the orchestra members noticed the audience was unaware.
The Fillmore garage was a grand, but we ain't got a grand on hand. And they now have a lock on the door to the gym at AS84. There's a soccer behind McCloskey's door, but Mrs.
Sets were especially intriguing in Guys and Dolls. Jim Toth fondly remembers the sewer scene, which he filled with huge pipes and a ladder leading down from the manhole. One judge was impressed by scenic effects and commented,
Very nice incidental pieces, such as filled garbage cans and phone booths. Visually, very interesting. Scenic elements were well thought out
Another commented on the dancing in the sewer scene.
I was especially impressed by the choreography for the crap shooters dance. There was a real ensemble feel.
To discourage reactions to the number combinations thrown by the crap shooter, the dice were painted white, echoing Big Julie's line, "I had the spots removed for luck, but I remember where the spots formerly were." This may have intimidated Nathan, but Sky was of sterner stuff. When Big Julie balked at the wager of $1,000 against her soul, Sky, now completely in character, socked him in the jaw and really connected. Big Julie's look of surprise and his stagger were real.
This flower drum song production rested in the role of Mei Lee, played by a Korean girl who entered SM that fall. Her lilting voice and gentle movements contrasted with the brash American Chinese of San Francisco's Chinatown. Other leads were equally strong and developed their characters well.
Costumes, unfortunately, need zippers. And through the years, Connie learned how to repair a zipper with a gentle tug and a few carefully placed stitches to make it last until it could be replaced. This took a little time, and May, making a fast backstage change, broke the zipper on her American dress. But there was no time. The old gentleman on stage had lived until he pinned the top, and she went on to continue the scene. All the time, the maid from the Wang household, who made an unrehearsed entrance, was carefully pinning the dress all the way up the back. A judge commented,
"Plaudits to Lou Ma for taking care of the broken zipper. Nicely done."
The blocking was a bit strange, but the action continued.
Similar in a way to Flower Drum Song, Fiddler on the Roof derives its dramatic conflict from the breaking down of tradition and the questioning of family values. It shows a man's relationship to his family, his friends, his enemies, and his God, deeply rooted in his pride and dignity.
High school enrollment was at a low ebb. The cast was one of the smallest. Because there was not the luxury of another chorus, all leads for Tevye and Golda were needed to sing in the dream sequence. To conceal identities, Sandra Gray, Special Art Effects, prepared death masks for chorus members who represented the friends and relatives in the graveyard. Fruma Sarah, wearing flowing chiffon, was carried on the shoulders of a dancer. The combination made a moving sequence.
Another moving scene was the wedding procession. Participants came down the aisles of the Commons carrying lighted candles as they made their way to the stage.
Except for a few special pieces which were rented for the men, costumes were made by SM students and families. The needs were quite different. Many costumes were old pieces purchased from the Goodwill, dyed gray or brown and recut. New fabrics didn't fill the bill. This show was one of the least expensive to costume in recent years.
Some of the young men grew facial hair instead of having to endure the itchy crepe hair beards. Times had changed.
Tradition. Without the traditions, our lives would be as shaky as the fiddler on the roof.
The show business bug bit many when they were children. It was a long, lasting virus, at times passed on to siblings. There were even a few cases of its being hereditary.
When did she get to be of beauty? When did he grow to be so tall? Wasn't it yesterday when they were small? Sunrise, sunset, sunrise, sunset, swiftly through the day. Seedlings turn overnight to sunflowers, blossoming even as we gaze. Sunrise, sunset, sunrise, sunset, swiftly fly the years. One season following another, laden with happiness and tears. Gotta have heart, miles and miles and miles of heart. Oh, find a thing that Jesus of heart, but keep that old horse before the car.
In Damn Yankees, a plump, middle-aged real estate salesman sells his soul to the devil so that the Washington Senators win the pennant from the Yankees.
You can expect some supernatural happenings. The devil, Mr. Applegate, appeared in a puff of red smoke, and beautiful Lola, whose job it was to take Joe's mind off the game, changed into an ugly witch because she failed. The Voice Journal reporter was troubled by too much red, especially when the stage was spotted in red rather than white. Apparently the whole devil idea was lost on him.
In keeping with the surreal aspect of the script, Jim took on a most ambitious task. He mounted 3 8x8 two-sided panels on the stage with bearings and hung on pivots. The sets were cartoon-like scenes painted on the panels, which were turned to change scenes. It was generally quite successful and added greatly to the underlying concept.
We got heart, miles and miles and miles of heart. Oh, I'd finally be a genius of heart, but keep that old horse before the car. So what the heck are we use of trying? Why should we curse?
We gotta get better 'cause we can't get white.
And to
last repeat was the Music Man, a fitting finale for 30 years of musicals. Cast members from the 1973 production came to SM for the Saturday night performance from all parts of the United States: New York, North Dakota, Colorado, Indiana, Texas, and Arizona. Wisconsin also was well represented. In addition to the greater Milwaukee area, members returned from Beloit, Chippewa Falls, Caledonia, and La Crosse. In all, 35 participants came to relive memories and support the efforts of the 1986 cast. Harold Hill had come full circle. In the 1973 production, he had been the youngest member of the River City Boys Band.
As in 1973, the citizens of River City began the trek to the picnic in the aisles. This was pleasing to the judges, who went on to praise the chorus.
The group seemed to work well together, get their energy up, and most importantly, looked like they enjoyed doing it. There is nothing worse than watching a show where there are no smiles present. What a difference it makes to an audience. So, chorus, good for you. You were noticed and appreciated.
Knowing this was to be the last performance of a 30-year run, all participants gave a little extra. The sets were attractive, the orchestra sounded great, and all backstage crews gave 110%. Tears after this performance were those of joy at accomplishment mixed with sorrow, because an era was ending.
And so an era ended. South Milwaukee's Music Man set aside his baton after 30 years. Because of our expectations, students found hidden talents within themselves as they entertained audiences through the years. As a poet said, "I'll never know this world. I'll never see this day. I'll never pass this way again." But as we knew and saw and passed, we shared these moments. We cannot bring them back nor repeat them, but we can treasure them and be glad to have shared this small, special part of life's journey.